Hi everyone, I am back again to continue our personal and business talk. Like I mentioned in the previous video segment, is today we're gonna talk about businesses, right? So um, let's talk about business. It's very fun, but it can be overwhelming. So when it comes to business banking, the finance, way before talking about the finance, you actually have to have the business have to be established. If you go to the bank, you're trying to open a business, it happens every time. The bank will send you back if you don't have the proper document, and I think sometimes that's the most challenging. Most of us have dreams. You think about an idea and you're like, oh my god, I want to open this business, but the question is, what do you do to open the business, for the business to be existing? So first, let's talk about the foundation, right? Where do everything starts? So the first thing is to come up with the name, right? When people are coming with a name, they tend to be a little bit easy. I've seen people pick their name, pick where they're from. My recommendation is put a little bit of effort, right? Try to find a way to have a story behind the name, something compelling, right? For instance, I have one of our business is called Gamerica Staffing. The Gamerica, the Gam, it's the country I'm originally from, which is the Gambia, and America is the country where I'm residing. Although I'm a citizen, but I'm residing, and so I took Gam, the prefix, so I connected to America, so Gamerica. So it's a story. So when people tell me, hey, people ask me, where is that name from? I explain it to them, and it's a way to raise conversation. So please don't use your name as a business, okay? Think about it. Take your time, put it some effort, and come up with a name, okay? So from there, then you have to decide what kind of business, right? There's sole proprietorship, LLC, corporation, but most of the time it's sole proprietorship, right? Most people, that's what they use. I recommend LLC because with the LLC, it gives you protection, right? It gives you that protection, and with depending on your accountant, the tax, it can be, the taxes can be little bit more advantageous with an LLC. So to register as an LLC, what you first go to the Secretary of State. If it is Washington, you go to the Secretary of State. After picking the name, you go to the Secretary of State. If you cannot do it, if you don't have the time, hire someone. Okay, I have a consultant business. We do it, so you can hire someone to do it. You go to Secretary of State of Washington, and then you register the business. From there, you need an EIN number, which is from the IRS website, and that one you have to be very careful because there's a lot of scam. If you go to Google and just Google IRS EIN, bunch of companies are going to come up, and then scammers come up, and they will charge you like insane. So do your homework. Make sure the domain says irs.gov. Always look for the domain name, whatever you're searching for. Then you get your EIN number. So those two are the most important thing if it is an LLC, right? And then from there, then you have a business, right? Like we all have most of us have ideas, have dreams, or have something that they want to start, right? You don't have to have funds, because some people think that they have to have all the ideas, they have to have the money to actually start the process. You don't have to. One of my businesses, it took 2 years. I did that. I just established it and then didn't do anything for 2 years. But I have the history whereby if I need a loan, if I need a line of credit, anything with the bank, they look at that history, right? That's what matters, is the history. So establish the business and have it, and that will actually give you some drive, and it will give you more motivation to come up with ideas, right? So that's the step one. Then step two, take those documents I mean, the EIN number, you don't actually need the document. You only need the name. And go to the bank. The Secretary of State, you don't need to take, which is the UBI number. You don't need to take that to the bank. The bank, it's, even if you take it, they're obligated to look at the Secretary of State because it's public information to search for the business. So go to the bank, and the same thing. You don't have to start the business to go to the bank. Go to the bank and open a business. So with the bank as the personal banking, different banks, different rules, right? Some banks with the business, they require a lot of the minimum requirement is pretty high. So if the business, you don't have money, you don't start the business, I would recommend go to a credit union. Credit union, for instance, BCU, there's no minimum requirement, right? So, which means less pressure, because if there's a minimum requirement, you have to have the money there. If not, you're going to be paying fees for nothing, right? And you don't want to do that. So go look for a bank that doesn't require a minimum requirement. Okay, go do that and open the bank account. Even if you don't do anything, just have it there. Just have it there. The fact that you have a business that is established, that's huge. It's a big thing because not everybody does it. So that's the second step. You open a bank account. So the third step, what type of bank accounts do you start as a business, right? It's the same thing. Is the checking and the savings, right? So the business checking, there's different types. Every bank have different types. Always look for the base model. Some banks, even though they don't require minimum requirement, but they may have another type of account that may require it. Forget it. Start with the basic one. Start from there. It will help you establish a good foundation. And then the savings, if you're not making any money, you don't really have to. If it doesn't cost anything, there's no minimum requirement or no fee, why not, right? You can have a savings out there and then go from there. And then later on, if you're going to be using your personal funds, right, that's part of the management, right? If you're using, because most of the time when you're starting, you have to use your personal funds, right? If you're using your personal funds, don't just transfer. Most people do that mistake. They just transfer from their personal to the business, right? Don't do that, right? Or write yourself a cashier's check, right? Write yourself a cashier's check, and you can write on the memo, loan to business. You loaning to the business, right? Your accountant, I'm not gonna, we're not gonna have time to explain that, right? But the accountant will tell you the advantage of doing that, right? Because if you transfer it just like that, then if something happened, the IRS have to audit you, then you have to tell the IRS what happened. But if you transfer the money with a reason, with like a check which is traceable, right? A cashier's check. You go to bank, personal, write a personal check or write your own check to the business and write on the memo, loan. Then if the business makes money, the business have to pay you back. That's how it works, right? It's pretty easy. So avoid transferring money. It's called commingling, and the IRS doesn't like it. So avoid doing that at all costs, okay? So when it comes to the and this opening the business accounts, establishing a relationship with the bank, it will help you to have credibility, right? As long as you're not negative on the account, right? So let's say in the future you need a loan or line of credit, the banks will see that you already have a relationship, right? With BSU, for instance, if you open an account, you can apply right on the spot for a credit card or line of credit, right? Right from the scratch. And most of the time, if you have, and it's based on your credit. So I'm not going to go too much on business credit. That will be a different segment. But I just wanted to talk about, and this is for everyone, it's not that complex. Just have an idea, that area, open what is it called? Do the necessary legwork and the paperwork to actually establish the business. Trust me, it will make a difference in your goals when it comes to having a business, because that's the ultimate dream for everyone, right? Having your own business and then be able to dictate your own time, your own basically making your own decision. So I'll end it here. The next segment will be about credit, right? That's the